Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on scientific discovery. It's not just about what happens in the lab, it's about sharing those huge ideas in a way that everyone can understand, check, and build on. So let's dive in and see how it's done.
We've got a great little journey planned out. First, we'll get into why this kind of writing is so important. Then, we'll break down its universal structure. After that, we'll learn how to get that pro-level tone. We'll also cover the super important topic of citations, and we'll wrap up with some tools that are absolute game changers.
All right, so first up, the language of discovery. And look, this isn't just about writing a paper for a grade. It's about stepping into a massive global conversation that's been shaping our world for centuries.
But I mean, think about it for a second. How does some new finding from a small lab in one country end up changing health policies all the way across the world? How do we know for sure that what we're reading is solid, trustworthy knowledge, and not just, somebody's opinion?
Well, the answer is the scientific report. It's this universal format that's built for one thing: trust. The whole point is to lay out your findings so clearly that anyone, literally anywhere in the world, can look at it and go, okay, I see what you did, I see why you did it, and I could even do it myself. It's the absolute gold standard for reliable info.
And that brings us perfectly to our second section, the IMRAD blueprint. So, if a scientific report is like a building, IMRAD is the architectural plan. It's what makes sure the whole thing is solid, logical, and super easy for anyone to walk through.
And you know what's kind of cool? Once you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. You'll spot it everywhere, from cutting-edge medical journals to engineering reports. And it all comes down to this one simple little acronym, IMRAD.
This really just breaks down the entire story of the research into 4 basic questions. The introduction is all about, so why did you even start this? The methods section answers, got it, so what exactly did you do? Then the results section lays out, okay, and what did you find? And finally, the discussion section tackles the big one. Right, but what does it all mean?
It all kicks off with the introduction. This is where you set the scene. You give us the background info we need. You point out a specific gap in our current understanding, and then you state exactly what you're trying to figure out. It's the why of the whole project.
Next up, you've got methods. Honestly, the best way to think about this is like the recipe in a cookbook. It has to be so ridiculously detailed and clear that another scientist could pick it up, follow your exact steps, and get the same results. This right here is the heart of what makes science trustworthy.
Then we get to the results. Now, this part is crucial. This section is a 100% judgment-free zone. You are just presenting the data, just the facts, ma'am, as clearly as you can. You'll see lots of tables, charts, and figures here, but zero interpretation. It's just, here's the data we found.
This is where all the fun interpretation happens. The discussion is where you finally get to connect the dots. What do your results actually mean? How do they stack up against what other people have found? What are the big picture implications, the limitations? This is where your raw data gets transformed into actual knowledge.
Okay, so we've got the structure down cold. Now, let's talk about the style. Section 3 is all about writing like a scientist. It's about finding that clear, precise, and super credible voice.
Just check out the difference here. On the left, you've got, we found that most nurses were stressed. It sounds fine, right? Kind of like a casual observation. But look at the right. The majority of nurses reported high levels of occupational stress. See that? It's so much more precise, objective, and formal. It's about the data, not a feeling.
And that little transformation we just saw, it's all guided by these basic ideas. You want to be clear and to the point. Keep your tone formal and objective. Be incredibly accurate. Make sure your ideas flow together smoothly. And of course, everything has to be built on academic integrity.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, giving credit where due. And guys, this isn't just some boring rule. This is the ethical backbone of all research. It's how we show respect for the thinkers and scientists whose work we're building on.
So in health sciences especially, you'll see 2 main ways of doing this. On the left, you've got the author-date system, like APA style. You can see the author's name and the year are right there in the sentence. And on the right, you have a numbered system, like Vancouver style, where a little number sends you to the full source at the end of the paper. They both do the same job, just look a little different.
Okay, time for our final section, and I promise you, this one is a total game changer. We'll call it your research secret weapon. We've talked about structure and tone and citing,
But how in the world do you actually manage all of it?
I mean, let's be real. If you're working with, say, 20, 30, even 50 different sources, how do you keep them all straight? How do you make sure every citation is perfect and your bibliography isn't a total mess? Trying to do it by hand is just asking for trouble.
Well, the answer is reference management software. Tools like Mendeley and Zotero are, and I'm not exaggerating, life-changing. You can pull sources from databases with one click, sort everything into neat project folders, read and highlight your papers right in the app, and, here's the magic trick, automatically insert perfectly formatted citations and bibliographies straight into your Word doc.
So your whole workflow just gets this massive upgrade. You search for your papers and just collect them right into your manager. You organize and read them there. Then, as you're writing, you just click a button to drop in a citation. And when you're all done, one more click and boom, a perfect bibliography is generated for you.
Because really, that's the whole point. These tools automate all the boring, tedious stuff that's so easy to mess up, and that frees up your brain power to focus on what actually matters: your research, your analysis, and your ideas.
So there you have it. We've gone through the language of discovery, the IMRAD blueprint, the scientific tone, and the secret weapons that help you manage it all. That structure, it's not a mystery anymore. So now the only real question left is, what amazing knowledge are you going to build and share with the world?